Let me tell you something about trust and what happens when it breaks. My son-in-law, man, he laughed out loud, right there in the courthouse, mocking my daughter, right in front of the judge. He thought he'd won. He had no idea the game was just getting started. Look, let me tell you, my name is Cláudio. I'm 52, been a widower for a long time, more than 10 years since my Sonia passed. And since then, my life has been two things, my trucking company and Leah, my only daughter. I live here in Columbus, Ohio. I have a small company, Ferreira Logistics, LTL Shipping, something I built from scratch, literally. Started with an old F-150, hauling boxes on my back at the wholesale market, sleeping in the cab. Today, I have 6 trucks. I didn't get rich, no, but we never lacked for anything. Never. I'm a simple guy. I like my work. I like quiet. And I thought I'd given my daughter the best upbringing. I know you folks who follow this channel like real stories, comeback stories. Well, my life turned into one of those, and I wanted to thank the people here at the channel for giving us a voice. Sometimes you just need to get it out. And my story, well, my story is about trust and about what happens when you trust the wrong person. My daughter, Leah, she's good, too good, a soft heart, the kind who sees a stray dog and wants to bring it home. She doesn't see the malice in the world, you understand, and she trusted Marcus. Ah, Marcus, I never liked that guy, not from the first day she brought him home for dinner. You know the type, chatty, laughs too loud, smooth hands, big watch on his wrist, but you know the watch is a fake. All he cared about was designer clothes, the newest car, and Leah, in love, blind. What could I do? I'm a father. A father swallows his pride. I swallowed Marcus. When they got married about 6 years ago, I paid for the party. Catering, church, everything. Dad, Marcus really wants a nice party. He wants it, I pay. Fine. I gave them a condo to live in. A nice condo, over in German Village. 2 bedrooms, balcony. I'd bought it pre-construction years before. Put it in my name, of course. I'm old, not stupid. But I gave it to her to use. One day it'll be yours, honey. Take care of it. And then, what did he do? Marcus, real quick. He latched on. He was between projects. Translation, unemployed. And Leah, with that little voice, Dad, Marcus is so good with logistics. Couldn't he help you at the company? I knew it was a lie. The guy couldn't tell a tire from a pallet, but I hired him. I put him in the company to help in the office. What he wanted was the office with the AC, the title of manager, and the company car, a Corolla I'd bought for visiting clients. He took that Corolla and never let it go. The first signs were there. But we parents, we ignore them. We want to believe our daughter is happy. I saw the way he talked to her when he thought I wasn't looking. Cold, bossy. Leah, get my coffee. Leah, this shirt isn't ironed right, like she was the maid, not like she was his wife. And Leah, head down. He's just stressed with work, Dad. What work? The job I gave him. The job where he spent half the day on his phone, prospecting. I remember her as a child. When Sonia, my wife, died, Leah was 12. I held her little hand in the hospital and I promised. I promised Sonia and I promised her, I'm going to take care of you. You will never want for anything. And there, seeing the way Marcus treated her, I felt like I was failing, miserably. And then, things got worse. Slowly, the way termites eat wood, from the inside out. It started with money. Leah was always asking me, Dad, Marcus is a little tight this month. Dad, Marcus wrecked the car again, the company Corolla, twice. Totaled it the second time. He said someone cut him off. I know it was drinking, but I paid to avoid problems with the company's insurance. Then he wanted to invest. The guy didn't even know what 2 + 2 was, and he wanted to invest. Dad, Marcus wants to invest in some crypto thing. He wanted $50,000. I said no. It was the first time I said no to Leah. She cried, said I didn't trust her husband. I said, I don't trust him, honey. I trust you, but I'm not giving him this money. She didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. Marcus, meanwhile, wouldn't even look at me at the office and at the company. What did he do? I saw. I'm not a fool. He'd get in at 10, leave at 4. The rest of the team, Joe, Tony, guys who've been with me for 20 years, busting their humps in the yard covered in grease, and Marcus in his office with the AC cranked down to 68, door closed. One day, Tony needed him to sign a shipping manifest. Urgent, the truck was leaving for Chicago. He knocked on the door. Once, twice, 3 times. Marcus ripped the door open, furious, red-faced. Can't you see I'm on a call? What call? He was playing games on his phone. I saw the reflection in the glass. Tony, a 60-year-old man, old enough to be his father, had to swallow the insult. "Sorry, Mr. Marcus." And I saw Tony look at me from the yard. That look of, "Well, boss, you gonna let this slide?" And I had to lower my head for Leah. The atmosphere at my company turned toxic because of him. That to me was almost a betrayal. But the humiliation, it keeps leveling up. One day, I had a barbecue at my house. Sunday. Invited some of my old buddies from the road, the old-timers. Simple folks, people who helped me build Ferreira Logistics. Marcus shows up, 2 in the afternoon, sunglasses, brand-name polo shirt. He looked at my friends, looked at my backyard, and made a face like he smelled something bad. I heard him. I was by the grill. He said to Leah, quiet but not quiet enough, "I can't believe you made me come here. Look at the class of these people. And this smell of smoke." My hand trembled. I had the meat fork in my hand. I swear to God. For 1 second, I don't know what I was going to do. But my buddy Joe put his hand on my shoulder. "Let it go, Cláudio. You can't choose family." And I let it go. Swallowed that one too. For Leah. Always for Leah. He got a plate, barely touched the food, and stayed on his phone the rest of the afternoon. Disrespect. In my house with my friends. And it didn't stop there. It got worse. There was another time. At the company. This one hit my wallet. I was closing a big freight deal and a 6-month contract with an auto parts factory. The client just needed one detail in the insurance policy. An adjustment. Something Marcus, as manager, was supposed to handle with our broker. And he forgot. Simple as that. Let the email rot in his inbox. Missed the 3-day deadline. The client who doesn't mess around went to the competition. I lost a contract worth, I don't know, $200,000 a year. Clear. When I confronted him about it, he was in his office, feet on the desk, watching videos on his phone. You know what he said to me? With the most shameless look on his face. "Relax, old man. We'll get another one." He didn't say Cláudio. He didn't say Mr. Ferreira. He said old man. And he laughed. "We'll get another one." Like it was nothing. Like my 30 years of sweat was a deck of cards he could just shuffle. And Leah? Oh, Dad, he's learning. It was an accident. An accident? He was robbing me in broad daylight while taking my salary. But the humiliation that made the floor drop out was on Leah's own birthday, her 30th. I wanted to throw a bigger party. She didn't. "Let's just go to dinner, Dad. Me, you, and Marcus." Okay. I booked a table at the most expensive steakhouse in Columbus, one she'd always wanted to go to. I got there, waited 20 minutes. Leah shows up, alone, crying. "Marcus? He had an emergency at the company, Dad." "What company? My company? I'm the owner." There was no emergency. He had forgotten. Or just didn't care. He stood her up on her 30th birthday. We had dinner, me and her trying to smile, me trying not to break the glass in my hand. I paid the bill, which cost as much as a new truck tire, and on the way home she fell apart. "He doesn't love me anymore, Dad." And what could I say? "Then leave him, honey." And she, "But I don't know how to live without him." How can that be, right? How do we raise our kids to be strong only to watch them give themselves away like that? But what happened next? He never saw coming. Nobody did. The whole thing came crashing down about 6 months ago. It was a Tuesday. I remember it was drizzling. I was closing up the depot. My phone rings. It was Leah, but it wasn't her voice. It was a sob, a muffled scream. "Dad, come. For the love of God, come." I froze. I thought it was an accident. "What is it, honey? Where are you?" "At home." "Dad, come." And the crying just swallowed the rest. I don't know how I drove to German Village. I think I ran 3 red lights. I ran up to the elevator. The apartment door was ajar. I went in. Leah was on the living room floor, curled up, hugging her knees, just crying. A wounded animal cry. "What happened, honey? Where is he? Did he hit you?" She just shook her head. "Worse, Dad, worse." And she pointed to the bedroom. I went. I shouldn't have, but I went. The scene, it doesn't leave my head. The smell. That was the first thing. A sour smell of cheap booze, sweat, and sweet perfume all mixed. And the light from the muted TV, flickering. Clothes thrown on the floor. Her clothes. His clothes. And the 2 of them. Passed out on the bed. The bed I bought them as a wedding present. Him, snoring. The woman, hair spread all over my daughter's pillow. And on the nightstand, a half-empty bottle of vodka and a plate. a plate with white powder on it. I'm not naive. I know what it was. He wasn't just cheating on my daughter. He was bringing the filth of the world into her home, into my home. My vision went dark. For a second, I swear I thought I was going to have a heart attack right there. But no, I closed the door, slowly, without making a sound. And that night, with Leah curled up in the living room, I remembered. An image came into my head. I remembered when Leah was 8, 9 years old. She got pneumonia, a bad case, the kind you see in movies. She was in the ICU. Sonia was already gone. It was just me. I never left her side. I slept 7 nights in one of those hard orange plastic chairs right by her hospital bed. 7 nights. 8 whatever scraps the nurses gave me out of pity. And I remember, I promised her, while she was hooked up to all those tubes, "Honey, Dad's here. Dad won't let anything bad happen to you." And I had failed, miserably. I had let the bad thing in. I let him sit on my couch. I let him eat my food. I let him drive my car. And now, he was using the money I saved to protect her, to do drugs in her bed. No. Right there, standing in her living room, I decided. It was over. For good. My reaction? None. I didn't feel rage. Not right then. It was cold. An iciness that ran up my spine. I went back to the living room. I picked Leah up. Literally picked her up in my arms like I used to when she was little. She clung to me. "Dad, he took the money." I stopped. "What money, honey?" "That money. From the account. The emergency one. The one you set up for me. He cleaned it out, Dad, wiped it clean. It was $50,000. An investment I kept for her. A separate account. She had given him the password to help me manage it. He cleaned it out. Wiped it. Probably spent it on that woman or whatever they were using. Right there, holding my daughter in my arms in the middle of that trashed living room, I decided. No more talking. No more for Leah's sake. Now, it was for Leah, but it was going to be my way. I took her to my house. The next day, she was still groggy from the sleeping pills. And me, I went to work. But I didn't go to the depot. You know what went through my head that day? I remembered something. I remembered Sonia, my wife. A little before she died, she was weak in the hospital, and she told me, "Cláudio, take care of our girl, but don't let her be a fool. The world is ugly." And I had let her be a fool. I spoiled her. I overprotected her, and the first wolf that came along snatched her up. It wasn't Leah's fault. It was mine. I remembered when I sold my Monte Carlo, an '89 Monte Carlo navy blue that I loved. Sonia and we dated in that car. I sold it to buy parts for a truck that had blown its engine. That's what put food on the table that year. I spent 2 years riding the bus, my hands black with grease, people staring at me on the Cota. Sacrifice. I know what sacrifice is. What did Marcus know? Nothing. He only knew how to leech. And that's when I realized. I wasn't helpless. Marcus is stupid. He thinks because I'm quiet, I'm dumb. He thinks because I wear grease-stained work boots, I don't know how to do math. He was counting on my death, counting on the inheritance. He thought Leah, as the only child, would get everything. And he, as her husband, would get it too. Only there was one detail, a detail he didn't know. The condo in German Village, 100% in my name. The logistics company, 100% in my name. My shares, my EIN. Leah was my employee on the books as an office manager, but she wasn't a partner. And Marcus was an employee of an employee. And there was more. I'm a disciplined man. I don't spend what I don't have. And in 30 years of business, I saved quietly. Nobody knew, not even Leah. I have today tucked away in a CD about $600,000. It was for my old age. It was for emergencies. Marcus didn't have a clue. He thought the only money was what he could see. The old trucks, the simple house. He saw the shell. He didn't see the roots. And that was it. I decided to make my move, but quietly. The same day I brought Leah home, I called my lawyer, Mr. Alvarez, an old friend. "Alvarez, I need you. It's about Leah." I told him everything, didn't leave out a thing. Mr. Alvarez just listened. At the end, he said, "Cláudio, it's going to be ugly, but we're going to win." First thing, I fired Marcus from the company. Termination for cause, job abandonment. I sent the notice to him at the condo. Second thing, I filed for a contested divorce. Leah signed the power of attorney without even reading it. She just cried. And the third thing was my idea. I went straight to the notary, went alone, sat down with the attorney. "Sir, I want to change my will." It didn't take long. Of course, he found out. 2 weeks later, Marcus went to work. The door was shut in his face. The security guard at the office building, who I'd instructed, didn't let him up. The company credit card cancelled. The car. I sent Joe, my buddy, to get the Corolla he was using. The third Corolla, by the way. Joe went over with the spare key and just took it. Marcus was at the bakery when he came back. "Where's the car?" He called me 30 times. I didn't answer. Then he started calling Leah, and she, soft-hearted, answered. And what did he do? The expected. Did he grovel? Beg for forgiveness? No. He threatened. "You're going to pay for this. You and your old man. You'll see who I am. I have rights. I worked 5 years in that dump of a company. I want my cut." That's when his lawyer got involved. We received the notice, the petition, and I'll tell you, I had to read it 3 times to believe it. The nerve of this guy. He had the nerve to ask for half of everything, half the German village condo, which he called the marital home, and the worst. He didn't want half the company. He wanted a piece of the inheritance. He claimed he worked there for 5 years, that he helped build the family's assets, and that Leah, as my sole heir, had a future stake that was his by default. He was counting on me dying. The bastard was, in a court of law, counting the days until I died so he could get what's mine. Mr. Alvarez laughed, a dry laugh. "Cláudio, this guy is an amateur. Either his lawyer is terrible or he lied his ass off to him." We had a settlement meeting. Before the hearing with the judge, to see if we could make a deal. It was me, Mr. Alvarez, and Leah. Leah was thin, pale, but she was steady. On the other side, Marcus and his lawyer, some slick, arrogant guy just like his client. His lawyer spoke first. "Look, Mr. Alvarez, my client is a reasonable man. He doesn't want to hurt Mrs. Leah. He just wants what's rightfully his. If Mr. Ferreira signs the German village condo over to him and provides $200,000 in compensation for his time at the company, we'll close the deal and nobody gets hurt." I almost jumped up. $200,000? And the condo? Mr. Alvarez put a hand on my arm. "Calm down, Cláudio." And he spoke calmly. "Sir, with all due respect, your client leaves this marriage with his personal possessions. And that's it." Marcus stood up. "What personal possessions? I helped build that damn place." "Mr. Marcus," Mr. Alvarez said, "you were a W-2 employee, and you were fired for cause. The condo is in Mr. Ferreira's name. You were living there as a guest. You are entitled to nothing." "We'll see about that in court," Marcus shouted. "And Leah, she's the heir. Half of everything that's hers is mine." And that's when I saw it. He didn't love Leah. He never loved her. He didn't see her. He saw a safe, a treasure chest, and I was the old dragon sitting on the gold. And then the time came, the day of the hearing, the moment he'd have to face me. We got to the courthouse. The mood was heavy. My daughter, poor thing, huddled. She wore a black dress, looked like she was going to a funeral, and maybe she was. The funeral for the life she thought she had. Marcus arrived later, smiling, confident, in a new suit, probably bought it with the money he stole from her. We sat. The judge, a serious man wearing glasses, he started reading the file. Marcus's lawyer began his speech. The same speech from the settlement meeting. "Your Honor, my client helped build the family's assets. He dedicated the best years of his youth to his father-in-law's company. He expects a fair division of the condo and of Mrs. Leah's future stake in her father's company." And that's when Marcus laughed. It wasn't a guffaw, it was a little smirk, mocking. He looked at Leah, who had her head down, and he laughed, as if to say, "You're nothing without me." The judge saw it, I saw it, Mr. Alvarez saw it, and the blood in my veins, and it boiled. But I didn't raise my voice. I stayed calm. Mr. Alvarez had coached me. "Cláudio, let him talk. Let him hang himself." When his lawyer finished his show, the judge looked at us. "Mr. Alvarez, defense?" Mr. Alvarez stood up. "Your Honor, the facts are simple. The condo is 100% the property of Mr. Cláudio Ferreira, my client. The company is 100% the property of Mr. Ferreira. Mr. Marcus was an employee and he has been terminated. There is no marital property." His lawyer shot back, "But there is the expectation of inheritance, Your Honor. Mrs. Leah is the necessary heir." Marcus chimed in, feeling smug. "Yeah, I have a right to her share." The judge banged his gavel. "Silence, Mr. Marcus. This is not a sports bar." That was my cue. I asked to speak. The judge granted it. I stood up slowly. I straightened my jacket, an old jacket, the same one I wore to Leah's baptism. "Your Honor, I said calmly. With all due respect to counsel, that there is no future stake, and there is no expectation of inheritance. His lawyer looked confused. What do you mean? She's the only child. I cut him off. There is no inheritance, sir. I turned to Mr. Alvarez. He handed me the manila envelope. I had brought it with me. I walked to the judge's bench. I handed it to him. Your Honor, this is my will, updated, notarized last week. I would like you to read Clause 5. Out loud, if possible. The silence in the room was absolute. You could hear the air conditioning humming. Marcus's lawyer turned white. Marcus? Marcus stopped laughing instantly. He leaned forward. What the hell is this? The judge just glared at him. The judge picked up the paper, adjusted his glasses. He read, not all of it, of course, just the important part. The whole room heard it. I, Cláudio Ferreira, being of sound mind, in addition to the legal share of my necessary heir, Leah Ferreira, do hereby decide to donate in life 50% of all my disposable assets, including my shares in Ferreira Logistics and the condo located in the German Village neighborhood, to, and he read the name of the institution, the Columbus Senior Center. Marcus shot out of his chair. What? He can't do that. He's disinheriting her. He's crazy. The judge was curt. He banged the gavel again, hard. Sir, sit down. One more word and I'll have you arrested for contempt. No one is disinheriting anyone. You clearly don't understand the law, so I'll explain it. The judge looked right at Marcus. It was like he was teaching a class. Your wife's legal share, which is 50% of the estate, is guaranteed by law, untouchable. But the other 50%, the disposable portion, the part you thought you were going to control, Mr. Ferreira has donated it, while living, and that is his right. The judge continued. The condo is in his name. The company is in his name. The law is clear. You leave this marriage with your personal assets. The judge shuffled some papers, which, according to this, consists of $12,000 in credit card debt and $50,000 that you misappropriated from your wife's account, which, by the way, could lead to criminal charges. Marcus, he just deflated. He sank into his chair. It looked like someone had let all the air out of him. His lawyer, shuffling papers, sweating. He had nothing left to say. The hearing was over in 5 minutes. Divorce granted. No division of assets. Marcus left the courthouse. He looked 10 years older. The new suit was wrinkled. He was pale. He lost everything. You know why? Because he never had anything. He was a parasite. And a parasite can't survive when the host cuts off the food supply. And that's how it is. He lost the condo. He lost the job. He lost, what do you call it? The free ride. Today, as it's been a few months, Leah is living with me back in my house in her old teenage bedroom. She's in therapy, and she's working seriously at the company. Started at the bottom, in accounting, checking invoices. I want her to learn the value of a dollar, the value of sweat. She needs to learn to be strong. The donation. I did it. The senior center was thrilled, but Mr. Alvarez set something up. It's a donation with a reversion clause. I can take it back, but I'm not going to, not now. Leah needs to earn it. She needs to prove to me and to herself that she knows how to take care of what's hers. Marcus vanished. I heard he's living with his mother in Lima, mooching off her. Back to square one. He called me last week, 10, 15 times. I didn't answer. I changed Leah's number. Some doors, you just have to lock and throw away the key. It wasn't revenge, you understand? Trust me. I don't feel any joy seeing his downfall. I feel pity. But it was necessary. It was justice. It was the only language that kind of person understands, the language of the money running out. Simple as that. And that's it. That's my story. I know it sounds like something out of a movie, but it happened to me. And look, what I learned is that you have to set boundaries, even with the people you love. Sometimes, especially with the people you love. Thanks for listening. If you've been through something similar, or if you would have done it differently, leave a comment. And subscribe to the channel. I see there are a lot of good stories here. Take care.